Hello guys, thank you for stopping by again on my channel. Very grateful for the few past days having started this little project. You all have been supporting by liking and subscribing if you're watching obviously from YouTube or other platforms like TikTok. Share and like. Thank you very much. Today I want to talk about something a slight departure from care, but mm, one which is gathered so much attention. It's around stop and search in the UK. If you have probably watched videos on TikTok and YouTube, you would see a proliferation of videos where you see young men being searched in public for various reasons. Now, stop and search is a power afforded to the police. This power was provided to the police to obviously keep the public safe. Now, there has been cases where it has been said and it's been reported that the police officers who are actually abusing these powers, and obviously young men are also getting into trouble during this procedure of stop and search. Now, today I want to talk about how you could safeguard yourself in an incident where you've been stopped and it was to be searched by a police officer. The first thing I want you to obviously understand is a legal framework which governs or which affords the police's power. Is a wide scope. The police derives its power of stop and search from the PACE Act, the Section 1 of the PACE, which obviously gives police the power to, if the police officer has a reasonable suspicion that, say, for example, you are carrying a weapon, oftentimes, or you are someone who matches the description of a bandit or a villain, someone on the run, and the police has the power to stop you under that particular act. Another act is a Misuse of Drugs Act, which most of you do not are not very aware. Obviously, if you take drugs and you're always in the hiding, you stand the risk. For example, a police officer smells cannabis. The smell of cannabis is not enough to form a reasonable suspicion. And the other things that come into play is a very delicate ground. However, if a police officer really thinks that believes that you're actually carrying drugs, I will not even go very seriously into serious drugs. Um, Oftentimes, it's referred to as controlled drugs. So a controlled drug could be, your ordinary drugs like um, what they call this, strong painkillers like tramadol. So, for example, your name is Mary, and Mary, you're in possession of John's medication. Say you were traveling, or maybe John gave you his medication and you were taking them. By law, you are not meant to be carrying that medication. So you can fall foul of the law. So these are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. Um, there's a Criminal Justice Act that still provides the power of stop and search to the police. I must state that the police's margins of the power margin is quite large when it comes to stop and search. There's a lot of legislations, not just that of these ones I've mentioned. There's a lot of power relating to stop and search, and it's very important for an individual who has been stopped to take into consideration certain things. Now, you're being stopped by the police. The police has their own procedures. They have to follow certain procedures. So whilst I was in the police college, during my tutorship, we had this acronym. We call it Go Wisely. Go Wisely provides a sort of guidelines for police officers who are in the field carrying out stop and search. So go, so G stands for the grounds or purpose of um, the grounds of suspicions, basically why the police officer has decided to detain you for a search. Um, O stands for object or the purpose for why he stopped you. W stands for warrant, so he's got to provide you his warrant card and say, right, I'm PC Joe Blocks or whatever. I stands for identity. Obviously, he will say what his name is. His name's got to match the warrant card. S is got to say what station is from. It could be from Waterloo Station, whatever police station applies to you. It could be, and he also needs to say something like, he will tell you that you're entitled to a record of the search. So, and again, he will go on to say, he will go on to tell you which legal power gives him that right to, which legal power is exercising. So you could say, for example, you could say, I'm detaining you for the purpose of search under the section 1 pace. And then lastly, he would tell you that you're being, obviously just what I've just said, you're being detained. He needs to tell you you're being detained. Guys, during this time, when you're going through this whole process, this Go Wisely process, you need to stay calm, okay? Right? Calmness is a key word. Stay emotionally intelligent because it's a fragile moment. Because the police even though they've got this big margin of power, they've also got to have this right. So be calm. Yeah. Ask the police officer why he stopped you to search you. Okay. He's got to give you these reasons. Also, obviously, refrain yourself from sort of expressing frustration whereby you start using swear words in the public, because I guarantee you there, you've just earned yourself a new offense. If the officer in the long run finds a weapon on you or something, you've definitely committed a public other offense. You're swearing section 5 of the public, disorder, causing a public disorder. So you need to bear in mind that it's a fragile time. You need to stay calm, be emotionally intelligent, ask questions, ask every process. So I say this a lot. You want to get that camera out. Get that camera out as soon as that search begins, because this is where you're going to start documenting your evidence, how you were being treated. Make mental notes. And obviously, you need to keep record of when you were stopped, at what time you start doing the search and all that sort of thing. Because it's very important, because where the police has got it wrong, this is where you can actually file a complaint against the police. There's no time for ranting and all that sort of thing. You just need to just be emotionally intelligent, and everything should be fine. These things happen, and unfortunately, we live in a society where some of the police officers do use these powers to abuse law-abiding citizens. So I want to crave your indulgence, is that you should, be emotionally intelligent. Use your camera, because your camera could be the game-changing equipment to actually prove any sort of wrongdoing by the police. I hope that this video has helped. Obviously, if you have been recently been a victim of some sort of police brutality in the course of stop and search, maybe this video will be helpful. And I also want you to understand that if the police officer uses handcuff or any sort of force, he has to be able to justify that. Stop and search does not necessarily has to go with handcuff. If you're detaining someone, it necessarily has to be with handcuff. Um, the police officer will need to do a report, a separate report on the use of force. We have to demonstrate why. You have to justify why he used the force. And obviously, if there's no justification, then he's going to find himself wanting. I must stress, I must stress here that the mere deployment of a handcuff or a pepper spray, pulver like they call it, or the taser is construed as force. So yeah. So if you've been in a stop and search and the police officer took out his handcuff and sort of maybe try to latch that on your wrist, that is the use of force. And if that force wasn't justified, they're in for trouble. All right. So thank you guys again for listening to this video. I'm trying to make these videos concise. The stop and search is a big topic. But if you've got any questions, please ask me. This is not legal advice. This is just advice based on my experience being a police officer, and I'm hoping that this could go out there and help people. Please please like, subscribe, share this channel. This channel is going bigger. It's it's growing in very remarkable proportion. So thank you very much for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao.